Welcome to Hockey on Tap podcast, episode 161, Trades. I'm your host, Bill Dean. I'm, of course, here with my two co-hosts, Little Steven and Shorts Guy. Schwimmer is off gallivanting somewhere in the northern New Jersey area, being a bum. Brought to you by Primetime Radio, courtesy of Sam Wu. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Please leave us a 5-star review if you'd be ever so kind. Boys, what are we drinking? We're going to do a quick 30-minute pod. We have some stuff going on, but we wanted to get a quick show before the trade deadline. It's been craziness today, which is awesome to see. But that Friday deadline is going to happen. There's going to be a bunch more trades, I still think. And then we're going to obviously get to key lime corrosion. Very nice, buddy. I like that.
Nice.
Shorts?
I'm just drinking water tonight, but out of my Cape May frequent fillers mug. If I can get it in the shot, there we go.
I like it.
I can get straight, boom. Yep, 2 years ago. I think this was, so just having water.
I like it very much. So I, courtesy of Alicia DeMarco, my sister-in-law, she went over to India and Nepal. Me and Steven had a beer from Nepal this past weekend. Today, Kingfisher Ultra, which is basically the Heineken of India. So we'll see. This is going to be a very tasty beer. But it's got one of those cool pop tops again. Quite a, cool pop top thing again. So let's see here.
If it was only out of a 61 bottle.
That is especially terrible. Fine lager beer. Alicia, thank you, though. I do appreciate you getting all this nice stuff for me.
Fine lager beer.
All right.
Fine.
Let's get what's on tap for today's episode. Here's our weekly snapshot. Trades. This day, I wonder why today. I guess it's a couple days before trade deadline. You want to kind of get things in. It's a Wednesday. But there's been a boatload of moves, and, I just obviously get right into it. What do you guys feel, and what do you think has been the best trade made so far?
The best trade. The Tarasenko trade is really good for Florida because they gave up nothing.
Agreed.
Agreed.
So a second and a conditional fourth, I think, right?
It was a third, no? Third and a conditional fourth?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, third and a conditional fourth that can turn into a third.
Yeah.
Yeah. A great move for Florida.
Yeah, not great for. I don't know how. I'm not entirely sure how. Well, I mean, Ottawa had high hopes. So signing Tarasenko this offseason to that 1-year contract with a full no movement clause.
Yes.
So
terrible.
Tarasenko had all the control about where he went. And, maybe he gave him a couple teams, but obviously I'm sure he was probably pretty handcuffed, Ottawa GM, and who he could send him to. So you get what you get, I guess.
Yep. Shorts, what did you like? And then we'll kind of go through everybody. So that full trade, right? They placed William Lockwood on waivers, Florida. They acquired Vladimir Tarasenko from Ottawa in exchange for a 2024 fourth rounder and a 2025 third-round draft pick. The fourth rounder can become a third if Florida wins the Stanley Cup, I believe it was.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree that was the best of the day so far. And I guess is it rumored or is it official that Hanifin went to Vegas?
It's official. We do not know who they got.
We just don't know details. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's still yet to be seen. I mean we're looking at we're going to look what the prices are being set right now. I was just looking on the NHL app. You're talking about, well, these are getting done early. I mean this is probably why there's 12 games tomorrow. And there's 13 games on Saturday, with four on Friday. So why not get your guys into the mix as soon as probably Saturday? Yeah, at least get them to their new prospective arenas or with their new prospective teams tomorrow, so they can watch and then have them ready for Saturday. So that's probably the reason why we're seeing so much today instead of Friday.
Yeah. So a couple other trades that happened, and we'll get into these now. I guess my favorite trade, and it's a pure hockey trade, which is what I like. Buffalo, Colorado, Bowen Byram for Casey Middlestat. It fills two needs for two teams that,
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, I don't think wanted to sign Casey Middlestat long term. It's been talks about how, all these other guys are getting long term contracts. He was kind of befuddled why he wouldn't get one. I think he's a very good 2 center, maybe, top end 3 center. And he'll fit in wonderfully with Buffalo, with Colorado. Sorry.
Colorado.
On the other side, Bowen Byram is one of those guys. When you think about, he's got all the talent in the world, and he played really well. He just wasn't getting the power play time with Colorado because they have some guy named Akil McCarr who is top 5 player in the league, right? I like the pure hockey trades. I know there's future assets, first round picks. Everyone goes gaga over stuff like that, prospects. But when it's a pure hockey trade and there's talent on both ends, I always enjoy those, and it's just a good old fashioned trade. So I was a big fan of that one. You had
Yeah, it was straight up.
Go ahead.
It was straight up. There wasn't any of that extra stuff, which is nice.
Yeah. So we didn't have so last Monday we had the pod, and you had Elias Pettersson, which happened pretty much after we got off air, signing that 8-year deal where he gets $11.6 million per year, which is obviously a great deal for him. And he's off the market. Rangers fans can no longer dream the good dream. But the guy, he makes the most for a Swede, 11.6. He bests Nylander's 11.5. The guy's just a beast, and he deserves every penny he gets. And Vancouver fans can't really complain.
No, they got a good piece for a long time. Good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
a couple
he's
other signings.
Marquee player, so you want to lock him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of players also signed. You had Thomas Novak, who a lot of people thought would be on the trade deadline. Rangers were in on him from Nashville Predators. He gets a 3-year deal. You have a couple guys placed on waivers, one after a trade, which we'll get into in a minute. But Sam Gagner was on waivers from Edmonton Oilers. There's a lot of teams that are in on him. We'll see where he ends up at the end of this. You had the Avalanche. Did you guys see this? They signed Ivan.
No.
Yeah. So the guy's name is Ivan. It's Ivan 3 times. And they signed him to a 2-year contract. So he will, Ivan will be on the NHL roster. That's probably sometime next year or so. Ivan. You had the Anthony Mantha trade, which Vegas also making the trade for Hanifin, but Mantha from Washington for a 2nd and a 4th. These guys, they take the cap, which they get from LTIR, which is what you see right now for Jack Eichel and for Mark Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Although Eichel should be back soon, I think. But Mark Stone will be most likely out until the first round of the playoffs. And in game one, round one. I said the meme of Cousins dying on the ice and then getting back up once he called the penalty. And that's exactly what Vancouver does, right? They are able to weaponize cap space.
I mean Vegas.
Sorry, Vegas. Sorry.
Yeah, well,
they're able to weaponize cap space.
It's what Tampa did.
It's smart. That's what winners do.
But I'll tell you what: if the Devils try to do it, the NHL would come down on them and say, "Yep, nope, this is done. This is over. You have to forfeit the cup you just won for doing it."
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
Well, the league did it. The league did investigate Tampa back with the whole Nikita Kucherov thing. They did do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, pending
how came out with nothing.
How this goes. Yeah, I mean, they said it was legit. Pending how this goes here with Eichel and Mark Stone, we'll see if the league will investigate them next. But I mean, that's like what, $17 million or something off the books on LTIR until game 1 of the playoffs.
I'm looking now. 9.5 and 5. Yeah, 14.5. 14.5. Oh no,
and that's on top of
they've got Robin Leonard. They don't even have.
Yeah, Leonard's on there too, right?
Leonard's on there, but they don't even have.
Leonard's not gonna. Leonard won't be back.
I know. Leonard won't be back. According to Cap Friendly, Jack Eichel is still on the. He's not on LTIR according to Cap Friendly right now.
LTIR, I think he's just about where he should be for signing, so that's probably why.
Yeah, because LTIR right now for them is Mark Stone and Robin Leonard, 14.5 million.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They are so good at this, and there's obviously reasons why they're that good. They are able to utilize that cap space, and they get guys to come back, March or playoff round one, and they, are just extremely good. So they get two guys that'll absolutely help that lineup and make them a threat once again to be a cup favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Reigning Stanley Cup champions. You had Adam Henrique going from the Anaheim Ducks to the Edmonton Oilers. They go for a first and a fourth. Tampa somehow got a fourth round pick out of that.
I was gonna ask. How did Tampa get wrapped in with
Ate
that?
some contract.
They retained salary.
Oh, okay.
So
they did basically what the Devils did with, getting, curing their defensive woes with Chris Tanev, and then all of a sudden letting them go again.
Yeah, Chris Tanev, the
Devils legend, Chris Tanev.
Yep, I saw that. You had the Avalanche, so they made two trades, right? So we talked about the Byram trade. They also then deal for Sean Walker because they obviously, traded Bowen Byram, but they deal for Sean Walker. They give up a first-round pick in 2025, as well as Ryan Johansson, who's now on waivers, which I wanted to get your guys' opinion on Ryan Johansson in a minute, but Avalanche, Sean Walker's now going to pair with Sam Girard. They have obviously Taves McCarr. So if you were to choose, which defense would you rather have, the Avs or the Vegas Golden Knights? Because both of them are nasty.
Well, I mean, Vegas doesn't have Cal McCarr, but
a McCarr.
Vegas.
True, yes.
Because, I mean, Shea Theodore can produce. You have guys who can produce.
Yeah.
So Shea Theodore can. Pietrangelo certainly can. And then you have stalwart guys like, now Hannafin,
McNabb.
right? And McNabb. Martinez.
Yep. Martinez, yep.
Yeah, I think Vegas's D core is more solid. Even though, they don't have an otherworldly Cal McCarr, I still think it's probably the six are more loaded than Colorado's.
Yeah. Just Rich got richer, right? So so here's my question for you guys for Johansson. If you were a playoff team, would you take a shot on this guy who's now on waivers making $4 million next year?
No.
No, you would not.
Mm-mm.
See, I was looking at it and from a Rangers point of view,
of course.
If
you just want whatever shiny new toys out there on the market.
Well, Ranger fans are starting to become a little unhinged. They think everyone's going to New York right now.
We'll talk about Wenberg in a second. They get a center. He can also play wing. Ryan Johansson can play center and wing. He hasn't had a great year, but Colorado, he had expectations, blah blah blah. If you could bring on a guy that's cap, it's going to be $2 million for this trade deadline, and then he's only going to make $4 million next year. Is he not a buy? You're only paying money. Is it worth that to try to bring him in for a cup run or a stretch playoff run? And all you're doing is cash versus if you wanted to get an Adam Henrique, do you think Adam Henrique's really better, that much better than Johansson, and you had to give up a first for Henrique and you basically just take on contract for Johansson?
I mean, you're gonna be eating $4 million next season. So you got to think about that because Ryan Johansson has been a disaster for quite some time. He had the one reclamation season with Duchesne, and Duchesne continued in Dallas, and Ryan Johansson did not continue in Colorado. So
True.
I don't think. I mean, he's a power play guy. He's a setup guy, and that's it. And I don't know any team that needs that. Why would you need that for that much?
Rangers.
The Rangers,
so the
1,000% don't need a guy who can only play in the power play. They don't.
Not yet. I agree, but the setup part. So Mika Zibanejad has been, I mean, let's put it, just not great, right? You expect a guy that scored 50 goals, to produce. He hasn't been very good 5-on-5. They're looking for a line mate, a guy that can pass to him, get him, going. I don't know if I'd rather pick him off the bench for $4 million next year, and you could probably trade this guy next year too. It's the offseason. Someone's going to
Yeah,
always
you
be
can't.
able to
Nobody.
take.
No, you cannot trade Johansson.
he's-
No, nobody
he's-
wants
He
him.
just
he's
got
on
traded.
waivers.
He just got traded to
You're gonna
Philly.
be, yeah, he just got traded so they could throw him on the waivers. I'm not entirely sure what Philly is, what their
Well,
plan is with him, but
Yeah.
they're probably gonna buy him out or something. But to immediately
But
put him
there's
on
teams that
waivers
do that.
makes you think that they have no desire to have him, and they're in the playoffs right now, so they literally
Yeah.
have no desire to have him on the roster. The Flyers, as they're making their playoff push to stay in this playoff position, they don't even want him. So now you're talking about like teams that are making a run for something. Philly is making that run for the
Yeah.
playoffs, and they traded for him and they don't even want him. So I think that says all you need to hear about Johansson. He's just
Well,
he's not a good
question.
player.
I don't remember. Did Torts coach him in Columbus?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So maybe he just didn't like him. Maybe that's a Torts thing.
Yeah, but why would you still trade for him if you knew Torts wasn't going to like him?
Yeah.
And you
Seriously.
Well, that
probably
might
know
have been- you
Johansson
had to
doesn't
move-
like Torts.
Well, I think Colorado had to give up contracts. They had to give up money, and maybe they said you need to take him off our books because we need to be able to bring in Walker for cap reasons. We'll give you the first instead of Sean Walker. We do give you a second on a prospect. We'll give you the first instead.
Yeah, it probably moved to a first to take Johansson.
Yeah.
You're probably right. Yes.
So maybe that's maybe they just say, hey, we're not going to have him. We're going to send him on waivers. If someone takes him, good. If not, he's going to go to the AHL. But we'll take on that because we're going to get a first round pick.
Yeah.
And
So
with what space would you pick him up?
we have a lot of space still.
No, you
We have
don't. I'm looking
about
at it right
$4
now.
We have like $3.5 million, $4 million.
No, not what I'm looking at.
Yeah, we do. It's the capologist have all said it's like 3.8 if we send down either Rempe or Edstrom.
You know what?
You can't. You
You know
can't.
what? Take
can't
Ryan
send your.
Johansson. Please
You
take
can't
Ryan
send your.
Johansson.
You can't.
Go
You
ahead.
can't
No, I
send
just-
your new. You
I
cannot
wanted to
send your new savior down
New
to
weapon?
the AHL.
Yeah.
You cannot send
No,
your new
my-
savior Rempe down to the AHL. Your fan base will lose it because they think he's the next greatest thing. They all want him
Yeah.
on the ice when anytime there's a hit.
Well, it'll
So
probably
he
be
can take a
Edstrom that goes
penalty.
down. You're honestly, yeah, you're correct. It'll be Edstrom that goes down. But no, I just wanted to get your opinions from say a team wants to get a center or a top winger, right? But Gensel's essentially two first round picks, right? Vetrano's a first and a heavy prospect, right? You have Tuck, who's a first, and so these guys are out there. No one wants to pay these prices, right? So you could theoretically get somebody that's just cap. And you could trade him if you do something stupid like give up a first round pick for a player later on next year if he doesn't work out. So that's what I'm thinking of. From a asset management, you don't want to give up those major assets. So why not take someone it's $4 million's not a bad cap hit. It's not like he's making 6, 8. It's
$4
it's
million
not
is a bad
ridiculous.
cap hit for somebody who's not scoring points and not doing
But
anything.
maybe
He's not.
maybe a change
He's
of
not a
scenery
bottom
does him
six
better.
player. He's not a bottom six player. Never will
we have
be.
a right
Never
wing
has
spot
been.
open.
Never will be. So you got to play him in the top 6, and he isn't producing. So that's
Okay.
I don't know. Take him.
Just wanted
Go
to see
ahead.
your opinions.
Be my
Yeah.
guest.
Take him.
Uh,
Take
Be
no.
my
him.
guest, Rangers.
No, take him. Yep, that's right.
ahead,
Rasmus Sandin,
Force-
five
Force feed him into the playoffs and friggin' fizzle out in the first round again. Please.
Yep,
Go ahead.
yep.
Yeah. You think it's Kane-esque? Are you saying Kane-esque right there?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. But
Okay.
you know what? You'll
Uh,
sell all those Rempe jerseys.
We would sell Revy jerseys. Yeah. Rasmus Sandin, 5-year contract, $23 million, I think it was total. So he gets a shiny new deal. Zach Bogosian, another 2-year deal from Minnesota. These teams and their love of face punching defensemen is fantastic. Oh wait, there was another trade that happened? Man, who did the Devils get a face punching? Oh, McDermott.
Yeah.
They're
That
playing
was
him
a
at wing,
great
aren't they?
trade. Yeah. What was it? A 7th and a prospect that people think that could be in the NHL next year, maybe on the third line.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow, that's a good trade for you guys, right?
We needed size. I'm all about it. We
You
needed
a face
size.
puncher
We-
that played
we
how many
needed
Steve, did he
size.
play 4 minutes the first game?
3.
What did you play last
3-10.
night?
Oh, you got rempied and you went out and got a big body because you
It
got
wasn't
rempied.
because of Rempe. You
Oh,
just
you
love
got
thinking it was
rempied.
because of your stupid team. It was not because of Rempe. It was a season-long thing where the Devils had absolutely no size and absolutely no grit, and were getting pushed around all season. And they finally pick up someone with size. It just happened to be after that jackwagon of you have Rempe. What are you guys?
He also
Oh, man.
happens to be utterly useless. So it's
Yeah, a very bad
there's also
hockey
that.
player.
Yeah, well, guess what? How many games does he play in the NHL versus the three of us combined?
Well,
Yeah, we're talking
he has a
comparatively on an NHL level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
He
They
does have a
needed,
cup,
but they
so
needed
good for him.
they needed someone with size, and Fitzgerald makes moves that, for the most part, have worked out. So I gotta assume that they brought him in for a reason, or they thought that he was worthwhile being on this roster. So
Yeah.
I gotta believe that there's a reason for it.
Nick Seeler got signed to a 4-year, $10.8 million deal, and his story is awesome, right? He was, as of 2 years ago, he was almost not in the NHL anymore. He gets a contract extension. You feel good for this kid. What is the trade you least liked so far? And I think for me, it's a pretty obvious one.
Because yours the Wenberg.
No, well, I actually didn't even mention that Wenberg one. I think the Adam Henrique to the Oilers is the worst one. They give up a first and a fourth. Again, I know they get Carrick too, but I didn't want to pay that asset for Henrique, and I would have thought that they could have, the first round pick you could get more than Adam Henrique. I guess that was on the market.
Yeah,
So
I'm not concerned with Edmonton. I'm not concerned with what Edmonton is paying for acquisitions. I'm more concerned about what they are acquiring, and they're still acquiring everything that they don't need.
yeah,
I like Henrique.
yeah,
I do. I think I think he'll benefit. He can play 3C there, I guess.
yeah. He's gonna be third line
Yeah.
center. Yeah,
But they still, all of their glaring flaws remain.
defensive goaltending. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's been their flaw for forever.
Ken Holland is the new Peter Chiarelli. He's just completely oblivious.
He's definitely not that bad. He's oblivious, but Chiarelli was wow. Chiarelli and Hextall are on the same level, I think, as far as GMs go.
Hextall.
Only Hextall,
Yeah.
only the one GM who you lose one player due to the expansion draft, and he lost 2.
Lost 2. Yeah. Yeah. Tanev McCann has got to be some of the worst asset management, especially when you think back at the first expansion draft, right? You had Florida giving up Riley and Marchessault to Vegas, and that was a big issue back then.
Riley Smith, yeah.
Riley Smith, yeah. Pittsburgh just almost did the same thing, and McCann's been really great in Seattle, and Tanev also in Seattle. They're fantastic. They've done really well.
That's Ron Hextall for you.
No, I know. Yeah. Sorry, Stephen. I know you have to deal with that. All right, yeah. So I forgot the Wenberg trade. I really didn't. That wasn't on purpose. Wenberg traded to the Rangers for the Kraken for 2 picks. Second and a fourth. It's a conditional 4th round, which previously was, acquired from the Stars. I don't know how I feel about it. I really, the 50% retained. I think that they need to do something else. I don't think this can be the only move, but I'm iffy on it. Right. I will tell you though, is Alex Wenberg the prettiest man in hockey? That guy is a good-looking dude. Have you seen some of the photos? He's a man rocket.
He is.
He's a man rocket.
I haven't seen a picture.
I don't know what a man rocket is,
Alex,
but yes, he's a good-looking man.
He's one beautiful human being. Yeah, the Oilers, Henrique, first-round pick. I just don't see how that's the play you make when you have glaring needs, like Steven said, and B, I just thought that the cost for the player was not in the ballpark that I would have paid.
It's probably an overpay. I mean, you're paying that much for a third line center, right? And you look at what the Rangers just paid for a third line center, and I think they're probably similar. I mean, Henrique has just been better for longer. And I think Wenberg is this solid acquisition. I think the Rangers need to make those Wenberg-like trades. I don't think they need to go after the biggest name out there like they have to do. every offseason, every trade deadline. It's get the shiniest, prettiest toy out there,
Well,
no matter what the
they
cost
do have a
is, no matter
glaring.
if it fits or not.
Yeah,
So
they
I
do
don't
have a
know. I
very
mean, you're
glaring.
you're more critical of guys that are slumping, but you don't need to replace those guys. They're just slumping. Hey, who knows if they're going to come out of it? Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't this season,
Well,
and then maybe you can address it, next season. But the trade deadline is no, like, you don't need another Kane and you don't need another Tarasenko just because they're there, and that's usually the Rangers' MO. Is they're there, so we have to have them every time.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I don't think you need that. You need to the best teams, the teams that go get that supporting cast that they need. They never. It's like the big splash
Mantha.
rarely
Yeah.
wins. Rarely wins.
Yeah.
So I think
Um,
Wenberg's good, but yeah, I think like you said, I think it's an overpayment for Henrik, but I don't think that really matters. To be honest with you, it's just they're just doing the
yeah.
same. It's rinse and repeat every time with the Oilers as well. It seems.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And they're
I
gonna
don't want
fizzle
Frankfurt.
out. They'll fizzle out
Yep.
again.
Yeah, I don't want Frank for Toronto. I think his cost is too much. He's got another year too, but and I know everyone's. We'll talk about the Gensel in a little bit. There's been a lot of teams that are in on him. Rangers, one of the teams that are in on him. But they do need that right winger. They've they have not been able to find someone to skate with Kreider and Zibanejad this year that have effectively played well. The last guy that did that was Frank for Toronto. But yeah, I think they need some help on wing. Maybe Wenberg plays wing, and kind of helps that line. We'll see. But all right, Steven. The man of the hour. We talked about this weekend. It sounds like Gensel will be traded. We don't know. Maybe by tomorrow. There's talks about maybe today. What do you think's happening? Who would you suspect is that team? There's plenty of rumors that, and this is crazy. Vancouver doesn't like Lindholm. They just acquired him for massive price.
Yeah.
He has not played well with them. They're worried that he
Rumor.
might not be a good fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, rumored. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. All rumors. There are rumors that there could be a blockbuster trade with them, Boston, and Pittsburgh, where Lindholm would go to Boston. Boston would send assets to the Penguins. Penguins would ship Gensel to Vancouver. I mean, that would be awesome. I love those kinds of trades. That's a lot of fun to think about and speculate. But what are your thoughts from a Pittsburgh native? Well, not native, but
Well,
Pittsburgh standpoint.
I think for the longest time it was. So I don't know exactly, and from what I'm hearing, what I'm reading, there really isn't any information at all about how discussions have ever gone between Gensel's camp and Dubas. So what happened and why, we're not sure. Whether or not this Dubas is looking strictly for a rental trade, that I don't know either. But the writing on the wall is kind of there last night. You saw Sidney Crosby playing last night, and I don't think I've ever seen him more dejected before in a game. It was strange to see his body language. On top of that, apparently there was again, take it with a grain of salt, a longer than normal embrace between Gensel and the equipment manager, which who knows, right?
Yeah.
There was no practice today, so again, who knows? I know that
Mhm.
Dubas, the source was saying that Dubas wanted it done by tonight. Granted, there's still some time, so who knows? He wanted to get it done by tonight to see he has his price, he wants his return, and if he doesn't get it, I think he's going to go back to trying to re-sign him. That is supposedly the plan. So, what teams are in on him? I think I would say Vancouver's probably the favorite, based on Rutherford being there, the familiarity there. So
Yep.
that's the possibility. The rumblings of some other teams coming in, and the Vegas, the Rangers, Carolina, Colorado was one.
Yep.
Excuse me. So they have, yeah. I mean, there's quite a few teams that were rumored to be in. I'm sure there are just a bunch of teams that are just asking. I don't know exactly who's pressing that hard. Some of these teams that were rumored have now, like Colorado's gotten some guys. The Rangers have gotten Wenberg. I don't know about Carolina. Who knows? But I would say,
Yeah,
if
Carolina's out
anything,
there.
I would guess Vancouver if I were to guess anything. But
I also don't think you'd want to trade him in the league within your own division unless you get blown away. Like you'd have to get much more assets
That's
from
well,
either Carolina or the
that's what
Rangers.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that Dubas ever did this
Things
really
like
in
that.
Toronto, where he had to have he was like a seller per se. And in fact, I think when he first started there, I can't remember what his acquisitions were, but I think he was talking about that he's really never been a seller. He's always been a buyer, mostly. So I think he knows he knows the price that he wants, and I don't know that he's willing to bend on it. And
Yeah.
so I think if he doesn't, I honestly I don't know. I don't know if this will go to the deadline. He apparently gave today as his own deadline, and then said that he was going to work harder. But those like little behind the scenes things, you're noticing tendencies, attitude in the locker room, embraces, handshakes, whatever, seems a little weird. But I honestly don't know. I was
Yeah.
dead set. I mean, go back to a couple podcasts. I was dead set. He's not moving anywhere. And
Yeah, I
now
know.
all of a sudden, the same source comes out and
So it's
was like,
changed.
Dubas is trying to move him. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Shorts
I
guys,
just
Toffoli going
I don't know.
anywhere?
I hope like hell not, because if we're selling Toffoli, he's our top scorer, then that's pretty much kind of calling it on this season at this point.
I mean, after
Um,
losing
I-
last night, I think you're pretty much done anyway. Or 2 nights ago, whatever it was.
I
yeah,
think regardless, you want him for the future. Regardless, you want him
Yeah,
for the
oh,
future.
absolutely. No,
So I think
and
it should be moving forward. And I don't even know that I think you can take the time to try, unless he has 100% said, I'm not staying, then trade him.
Yeah.
But if it's still,
Yeah,
if there's
absolutely.
still negotiations to be had, negotiate. And if you lose him in the offseason, fine.
You can get him.
maybe
You could probably deal him for like a 4th or 3rd round pick. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I mean, you might get something similar to the. I mean, maybe something a little better than Tarasenko, but not much better.
Yeah.
And to be completely honest, I mean, the Devils could use it as assets for trades in the offseason, perhaps. Using whatever
Yeah.
they get for him to package for trades. But otherwise, I mean, just using it. I think the most benefit is if he's not dead set on leaving, use this time to negotiate and sign him, because you
Yeah.
need him for the future. That, in my opinion.
yeah, I mean,
I don't think you need assets for him. I think you need him.
no, I think we need him as well, and I think he's.
Nope.
And I mean, what it could also happen too is we ship him out now with a handshake deal, saying, "Listen, we'll ship you out now. We'll collect some things for you, but come summertime, come back. We'll sign you, and we'll sign you long term. Come summertime."
Yeah, but
You
that's
it's-
never happened.
That's possible. I mean, it's just
I
because
know
it's never
people say
happened
it's
doesn't mean it's
as a
impossible.
hypothetical. People says that's possible, but just think back of. I always think about this, and it's
Yeah,
like,
how many
oh,
times it's
trade the
happened?
rental, and then he resigns in the offseason. It never
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah. No.
So I think
But
it's one or the
I
other.
would-
It's
I would prefer him to stay. I would absolutely prefer him to
Yeah.
stay, because I think he fit in real well, and I think we need him going forward. And I'm hoping that this season is just a blip in a long future of success for this team. So
yeah.
I'd prefer
All
him
right,
to stay.
couple.
Truth be told,
We'll go over some quick names
agree.
that are available still that we think that will be dealt before Friday. But I'm looking at this trade deadline list from the Athletic, and they have Elias Lindholm at 15 on the trade deadline list. So people really do think that he's available, and that
I don't even know his stats. I know he had a good game when he first went over there. I don't even know how he's done
Yeah.
since he gone over there. I don't know his stats. I
I'd have to
haven't
take
heard
a look.
much, but I
Yeah.
haven't been playing.
They got Gensel, Vetrano, Toffoli is the top 3. You got Matt Dumba still out there, Jacob Markstrom, which I don't think he's going to be dealt. But
No.
there's one Devil that posted they've dealt Hannafin, Kachuk, Gaudreau, and a whole bunch of other guys, but they can't get a 35-year-old goaltender off of the Calgary Flames. So it's very funny. You have Jason Zucker, who the asking price is a 1st and a 2nd or something crazy. Arizona's they're ridiculous right now. Duclair, Max Pacioretty, who's there's talks that maybe Florida. Capo Kakinen, Riley Smith still with the Penguins. Let's see if they're able to ship him out. Nick Dowd, center for Washington Capitals. We got a couple of names: Joel Edmondson, Kyle Okposo, Puchnevich is still a name. Jacob Chikrin. I don't think they'll be dealing him this. More offseason guys. David Savard, who had one of the craziest goals this year, where it hits off the stanchion and goes right in. That goal it was Sam Reinhart against the Rangers, but Barkov.
Mhm.
I still haven't seen it. I still have to watch it.
Puck out of midair, flips it up to himself, hits it again, is falling, passes over to Reinhardt for an open. It's the goal of the year, and it's not really the goal. It's the assist of the year. It was that
Mhm.
crazy. Mikhail Granlund's out there too. Tyson Berry, a couple other guys, but we'll head on 2 seconds. But is there anyone you guys think outside of that could be dealt, or you would think maybe have a chance of being dealt that we haven't talked about?
I think there's some teams that tend to always make splashes that haven't yet. I
Mhm.
think some of those big names you will see go off the board. I think Carolina is definitely somebody who's going to acquire someone. They
Yes.
always do. So they'll go after who I don't know.
No one
Yeah.
saw the middle stat for Byram. No one saw that coming. That was a shocker.
It's true.
No, but you knew Colorado was going to make moves. Vegas was going to make moves.
Yep.
Dallas made their move. I don't know that Dallas will make another move, to be honest. I think that Chris Tanev, with Stankoven
I think he
coming
took up
up and
most of their cap.
completely. Well, yeah, and Stankoven coming up and completely lighting it up for them. They basically have two first lines
He's been
right
awesome.
now that are
Yeah.
steamrolling. So I don't know if they're going to do anything else. But think of the contenders, right? And Toronto hasn't
Vegas,
done
Dallas.
anything really.
Yeah.
Vegas Dallas is going to be one hell of a Western Conference final if that happens. That's going to be so much fun.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun to watch for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
You guys got anything else?
I don't think we're going to see a whole ton of a lot more, but I think you're going to see like Carolina, maybe Toronto, Boston, right? They haven't done much.
Yeah, Boston.
And I don't know, maybe some of these other, like a Detroit, maybe. I don't know what Yzerman's going to do. And Tampa, who knows? They always go after something ridiculous.
Tampa,
They were talked about for Hanifin, and they weren't. They just have zero assets. That's the problem.
They have no asset. That's the thing.
be-
Like, I don't understand how they're involved in rumors for high end players when they have no prospects and no picks.
They're gonna
happens.
fall one day. They're gonna fall and just Schwimm's gonna lose his mind.
It is.
He
Oh, it's gonna be
already
great.
is.
It's the best thing. It might be better than watching him watch a game. All right, boys. I'm pumped for it. Today was fun. There was a lot of good stuff happening. I think that tomorrow we'll have more. I think maybe we'll probably be a good
Friday at
few
least,
trades
probably.
happen before Friday. So, but as always, extremely exciting to be a hockey fan. I do love trade deadline. At least the weeks leading up to it's always good. Kingfisher, awful. It's like a one. It is real bad.
Finish it up there. Finish it up, Rook.
Chug it.
It
chug,
is
chug,
like
chug,
cold,
chug,
it's
chug,
cold,
chug.
It's cold piss.
My key lime corrosion is a 4. It's delicious. I love it.
I need something to drink after this. Ugh.
I like my water here at the house. It's a 5.
Oh, there it goes.
Schwim.
Yep.
Ugh,
Take
Schwim,
her
take
home.
her home.